So I've been wondering about YouTube because I was like so fired up, like this is what I want to do and da da da, and then I immediately got discouraged when I felt like, oh, like I can't find the flow or something, and I was like, do I make like a script, or what do I even talk about? And like I don't think I'm like original, like so I was like, why not turn on the camera and talk about, I don't know, social media. And if anything is truly ever original. And this feeling of what do I have to offer to the world if it's not original, if it's not new, if it's not like it's not like I'm like extremely smart. It's not like I'm a philosopher that has thought of something new. And even if you are, some people don't get like any recognition for that, and like does that matter? And that kind of stuff. And like, oh, and if my art isn't great, is it even worth sharing? Is it even worth like having people listening to it or consuming it? And then because there's so much to consume nowadays, like my phone is full, but basically I was saying you would watch all, like on YouTube, you would look at your subscription page, you would watch all of those videos that had come out, and then you wouldn't have really anything else to see, and now it's just too much. And everyone knows exactly what the algorithm wants and what attracts people, but it's all the same. Like, it's all the same. 5 things you need to know. 10 things I wish I knew before. Don't this, do that. And it's just like a lot. And so I was wondering, like, oh, how can I be different? How can I stand out? And I was like, oh, I want to be someone that helps people like feel less shame or less pressure to really I don't know, to be like a certain way. Oh, be like this, be like that. No, just be yourself. But then you also have be yourself. I don't know, it's just like so intense. So I was like, what can I really bring? And honestly, I don't really know yet, and I think maybe that's okay. Maybe I should just focus on what I find important and sharing that. But I've been kind of wondering what that is. I feel like this week is a little slow, and I've been feeling sick as well. And it's funny how you go from like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then like so quickly you're just discouraged. It's not that weird, and I think especially when you're doing something new and you expect people to watch it, or you feel like you're failing if people don't like it. Like ever since Instagram started being a thing, like when I was like in 2013, maybe even 2012, I was 12 years old. I would be embarrassed like if my pictures wouldn't get any likes, and I still have that, and thank God they changed it into that you can like hide the like count, because I didn't want people to see how unloved I was. How unloved I was, that was definitely like a trauma thing, Yeah, I still have like trouble with that, and although I can kind of share with people like, yeah, I want to do this or that, or this is what I'm doing, or like I posted this, and then they're like, oh my God, I can watch it, I'm gonna watch it. I'm like, yeah, woo, don't watch it where I'm, when I'm here in the room though. I forgot what I was getting at, but this is my little leaf. It needs to be brushed out. I think I might dye it tomorrow. I'm gonna dye it with like a plant, like a natural. I'm just gonna go out in the woods and look for nettles and then boil this with the nettles. Also, I made this really big one. The one looks better. It looks a bit better. Like, isn't that nice? And it's really easy to make as well. But yeah. So I guess, I don't know, yeah, so it's difficult then trying to post on YouTube when you're like so focused on, oh, is anybody watching it? Is anyone liking it? And then posting it on like a community thing, but like still, like it gets, like there are still people that have watched it, which is insane, because I was like, oh, like nobody's gonna watch it. But there's more than one, which is crazy. Like even just one person like sitting here and listening to me and like giving a fuck about what I say, or like kind of agreeing with it, like that's cool. And I had like 12 subscribers. I don't know how many of those are my friends. But that's crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like, what? That's 12 people, and then in, like, YouTube terms, that's nothing, of course, but in, like, people term, like, imagine, people term, just imagine sitting in a room and, like, 12 people, but, like, I like you enough that I'm gonna, like, follow you or check you out. And there was even a few months ago, I missed a comment, though. It was so sad. I missed the comment, but there was a person that just got my video recommended, and they were like, "Oh, I hope you do well," and da. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, this person, like, I didn't post anything on. They didn't find me on, like, a community thing. They didn't, they're not a friend or something. Like, they just wanted to support, and how lovely is that? And isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? I think I get kind of stressed out thinking about, like, jobs and, like, oh, what am I gonna do in the future? And, like, I have some plans for this year, but it's not like a career plan or what are you gonna do with your life plan. It's kind of like, I want to do this, or I want to take this adventure, and it costs money. It doesn't it doesn't create money for me. So I'm gonna travel a bit. It's like not like I'm gonna travel for months. Like, that's not what I'm gonna do, because you need a lot more planning than what I did. I kind of just said, like, a few. It looks kind of wonky, doesn't it? It looks really wonky. That's okay. Like a few months ago, I was feeling kind of depressed, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go see my friend in Indonesia. Fuck it. Whatever. I'll just go, even though I'm, like, fucking scared. Like, the first time I actually really considered it, I couldn't sleep. I was just imagining, like, waking up in Indonesia and in, like, a hostel and being like, where am I? And, like, feeling unsafe. But I was just like, I don't have anything in my life right now, so let's just do it. It was a little impulsive, but I'm gonna go through with it. I feel like it's time for me to just take on the adventure and do something crazy and kind of show myself, like, hey, we can survive that, like, and it was really fun, and we could actually trust ourselves. And I've done that, like, a few times, like, past few months, kind of, where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing that's a little scary on my own, and then I survived it. And it was actually really fun. Or I met some people, or I got to, meet people and, like, connect with them and have, like, fun talks. And then I'm like, oh, actually, like, I can do it. And then today I was supposed to go somewhere, but I felt kind of under the weather, so I canceled 2 things, like, 2 new things that I was gonna do. But I was kind of happy that I didn't have to go. Like, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself, but also, like, I do feel sick and I don't want to get sicker, because I have to work next week, and it's kind of, like, physically intense, my work, so I don't want to be sick for that. But then again, I'm like, okay, why? I could also just call in sick. I could have done those things that but whatever. Like, I'll find something else, It's kind of tiring to have to put yourself out there constantly, but, like, if you want, like, a different life, that's what you have to do, right? And I feel like I've spent my entire life hiding or being scared for the world and for people. So I need a change. Like, I'm not gonna move forward doing the same thing that I've done for years now, and I really feel like it's time, and I want to do it as well, but sometimes sometimes it's a little bit harder than usual. And I think it's also because I'm getting my period. So yeah, sometimes I get depressed, like, the day before, I just get depressed. So yeah, then things are just a little bit more difficult, and you're a little less optimistic. But it's okay to sometimes have, like, days that are a little bit less enthusiastic and full of energy, and let's do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. Like, I think it's good to have at least, like, one day in the week where you just kind of get to pause and you don't have to do anything, And I was kind of in my head, like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to check this thing out, and I have to look for a job, and I also have to plan this trip, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, but I'm sick. And I'm kind of also sick and tired of forcing myself to do things constantly, you know? Okay. So I think I'm gonna stop this video right here, because I feel like when the videos get too long, it might get a little, I don't know, it's a little bit less digestible, and I think sometimes it's better to just stick to the core of the message, but I don't really know what the core of the message was here, but I guess maybe it's like, oh, hey, maybe an off day is okay. Progress isn't an exponential thing, and it's okay to take to take a breather before you take the next step. So yeah, I'm excited to dye this. So I'm gonna dye it with a natural dye. I've just decided that I have no idea how I'm going to do that, but this is also like the first day I made something like this. It's really easy. Like, you can just look up these things on, like, that's why I love the internet. Anyway, I'll see you around, and I hope you have a lovely day or evening or night or whatever. Goodbye.